Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:10 p.m. on Monday, November 26, 2018. I'd like to call to order the monthly board business meeting for the Board of Parole and start with a roll call with Commissioner Drake.
Vice Drake, present.
Ellen Alexander here.
Eric Williter here.
Carol Shapiro here.
W. William Smith here.
Kathy Kiley here.
Tina Stanford, present.
Tom Agostini present.
Mark Capola here.
Rosie Arena, present.
And also present from the Department of Corrections.
Peter Garage, AV Department.
Thank you so much. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen from the public who have joined us here today. And just for the record, and this is something I may start to do, looks like we've got 7 people. Thank you all for braving the weather and for coming out and joining us today. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes of October 22nd, 2018? If not, let me know with a wave and we'll wait a few moments. Okay. Seeing no hands, is there a motion with respect to the business meeting minutes from our October 22nd, 2018 meeting?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and I assume that's a motion to accept the minutes with no corrections?
Correct.
And abstain by Commissioner Capola. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? And we do note the 1 abstention. Thank you so much. All right. In terms of old business, pleased to say that after our last meeting from October, we met that same afternoon for a hands-on training here in the Training Academy with respect to how to access the automated information systems that the department maintains. We will plan a part 2 of that training in the new year. We understand, of course, that some of us didn't have full access at that time, and I really want you to have the opportunity to work within the system, having had access, so we'll try to plan another training for either January or February if everyone's schedule allows for that, or most of us can make it after our next board business meeting. So please keep that in mind for 2019, and of course we've got a lot of other topics that we want to visit, some that we may want to revisit, so please keep your ideas and suggestions coming in terms of training opportunities that we can share. As an item of old business that was addressed as part of new business last meeting, I want to remind you that we're coming to the close of the year. So any online training from the statewide learning management system that you have not had a chance to complete for 2018, encourage you to try to do that before the end of the year. I got a printout regarding our training, not just for the members of the board, but for the entire employee staff of the Board of Parole. And so there may be some training that we still need to complete. Also want to remind you that every time you do a training, whether it's an online self-study or a third-party training, fill out one of the RTF forms. Even though I'm not technically the trainer for that, I can sign off on it as supervisor, as long as you attach a copy of something, your certificate of completion, whether it's continuing legal education or something else that you may do in the community. And it doesn't have to be formalized training for which you get any particular professional credit hours, but training is training and you will get credit for it, but you have to fill out the RTF form that the Training Academy issues so that I can sign it and send it in so that you get credit for any training that you do in the community or that you do self-study for. So please take a look if If you're not sure where you're at with your training hours, give me a call. I'll check the log that I have to date. But again, it will only show what the Training Academy has gotten an RTF form. Because if you did some training and they never got an RTF form, it won't show up. So, all right. Moving on now to new business. We do have an item of importance to consider and vote upon today. And with that, I'm going to turn over to our counsel, Kathy Kiley.
Okay. I think everybody got the email that I sent to all of you regarding the recusal policy and procedure manual. It's item number 1, and also the Appendix A. So it really just changes everything from may to shall. So if no further ado, I think we can, if no one has any comments, I think we can go ahead and vote on it.
Anyone care to make a motion with respect to policy and procedure manual item number 1, entitled Recusals from Board Decisions? Okay, so moved by Commissioner Mark Coppola. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner William Smith. Any questions or discussion? Okay. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Okay, thank you so much. That is passed, and this is now our updated policy and procedure manual item number 1, having to do with recusals from board decisions. Thank you so much for taking the time to review this in advance. I have no other items of new business. I do have some correspondence to share with you and a bit of sad news to share. One of our fellow commissioners lost a brother-in-law of 30 years over the weekend. It's always more tragic somehow when it happens in close proximity to a holiday. So please keep Commissioner Davis in your prayers. We will be sending a card on behalf of the Board of Parole at the end of the week. We have some correspondence I'd like to share. This letter was sent to a panel that consisted of 3 individuals. By seniority, Commissioner William Smith, Commissioner Tana Agostini, Commissioner Carol Shapiro, in terms of when I say seniority, by the date that we joined the board. And I'll read it. It's changed a little bit. It's basically the same letter, changed a little bit for ma'am rather than sir for Commissioners Agostini and Shapiro, but I'll read the letter that in substance is the same for all 3. This is regarding a parole hearing of November 7th of 2018. Dear Commissioner Smith, Agostini, and Shapiro, good morning. Please accept my esteemed gratitude for the kindness, compassion, courage, and wisdom you have exemplified in rendering your determination in the above matter. Thank you so very much. With utmost esteem, I am respectfully, and then signed by this person who had previously been held and may still be there pending the open date, perhaps, at Ulster Correctional Facility. No. Next, I just want to read just a portion of something that was provided to a panel by a person, an incarcerated person, and it starts off by saying, I would like to thank Commissioner Coppola for pointing out to me what should have been obvious. The letter is 3 3¼ pages long. And from what I can see, the gist of it is that during a prior interview, after which release was not granted, this person did some reflection upon what Commissioner Coppola shared during the course of the unsuccessful interview, and made some great strides, made some efforts that, as I understand, ultimately resulted in an open date by a subsequent panel. And I just will read just the ending as well. And again, thanks to Commissioner Coppola, I am no longer in denial. I know and understand the ugly behavior of my past lewd conduct I was in bondage to. It will not happen again, ever. Once I was a broken man, no more. I humbly thank you in advance for your time and consideration of this matter. Now, as I understand it, this was provided to a subsequent panel that had the release decision to consider, and it's always encouraging when we learn that, having not received an open date on at least one occasion, people take to heart what we ask them, what we say to them in our written decision explaining our decision not to release, and then take action. I think that's what we all hope for when we're unable to render a responsible release decision. We're all hopeful that something we will say, something in the exchange, some encouragement, some advice, some direction, some guidance will be considered by that person once they have time to reflect on everything that's happened during the interview and up through receiving the decision, and that they will take our guidance and our suggestions to heart, make the most of whatever additional time that they have, and then come back better for it. So many times I've had the occasion of being in the company of my fellow board members when someone that they did not release would see us at an event in the community. And more often than not, it's not bitterness that people express. In many cases, it's an acknowledgement that they really weren't ready and that we saw something that was really, truly there, and that they made the most of their time. And now they're meeting us in the community as opposed to through the interview process. And they're always very pleased to be able to say how they're doing. And so I like to read these letters because I think it's important for every one of you and the people that attend and watch our meetings to understand that we do the best we can to make the best decision that we can that's responsible in the public interest given the law that we work with. And that in many instances, the person themselves is not dissatisfied with the decision. They may be disappointed, but when they feel that they've been given the time that they are due to have a full, fair, and accurate interview, as one former commissioner used to say, that the decisions that they're given make sense to them and seem to honestly reflect what's been shared during the course of the interview and the records that they present with, and that there really is no hard feelings. Now, that's not every case, unfortunately, and there will be disappointment sometimes, whether we're releasing people or whether we're not releasing people. But I think it's important for everyone to see when at least to date, the outcome is a positive one. So. I don't have any other announcements or correspondence or invitations to share. Oh, thank you so much. I almost forgot. Well, let me thank you for something else, too, that I forgot to mention. Last month was Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I asked the board to wear purple in honor of the awareness that we try to bring to the issue, and so many of you did, and I thank you for that. We also just completed an audit for our reaccreditation. One of the things that I'm very proud of from the time that I became aware of it is that the New York Division of Parole was the first paroling authority in the country to be accredited by the American Correctional Association. And the board, as part of the former Division of Parole and then as an independent entity, part of the Department of Corrections, has continuously been accredited and reaccredited since that time. We had an audit the beginning of the month of November, 2-day audit. We had peers, professional peers from 2 other states come and review our 131 expected practices. That's what they call the standards now. They call them expected practices, to see if we were in compliance. And we were, in fact, by our auditors, found to be in compliance of all of the standards, all of the expected practices, which don't conflict with New York law. So everything we could have been compliant with, we were compliant with, according to the auditors. They are preparing their final report and findings for the American Correctional Association's Accreditation Committee. And at a hearing in January, it will be formal whether or not the committee agrees with the findings of our auditors. So I want to congratulate you all and all of the staff, the fine staff of the New York State Board of Parole, who keep us in compliance with the expected practices that have been determined to be the significant best practices of peers around the country. And for everything anyone may have done to assist Rocio and myself in gathering documents and just doing the fine job that you do and that the staff does to make sure that we are in compliance with peer review expected practices. So thank you for reminding me, Council Kiley, for that. That's a great announcement to share and something really I am certainly proud of, and I know you all are as well. So without further ado, I don't have anything else. Any other announcements anyone has to make? Is there a motion?
I should have said this earlier. I just wanted to add that Commissioner Drake and I were on that interview, that letter. She actually led it, and that was a 100% turnaround for that gentleman from the previous time. So it was refreshing, but it was just odd because we had seen him in a different facility. So at first it didn't come around, and then as she was interviewing him, but he presented very, very well, and compared to when I saw him with Commissioner Berliner, myself, and Commissioner Davis, if you were to read both transcripts, you would not think it was the same person. Wow. So it was good, but Commissioner Drake and I had seen him recently, and it's always nice when you see somebody the second time and then see the difference. Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't always happen, but because we're so short, it happens more often, but it doesn't always happen that way. But,
so tell me this, was the journal entry, the 3+ page journal entry, was that already pre-written before your interview? So he didn't know that you were going to be there?
No, he must not.
So whoever would have been there would have seen this?
Commissioner Drake pointed it out. I didn't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, so he had no idea he would see you again. It could have been anyone, the luck of the draw. Could have been any one of us that he was seeing, and it is a rewarding feeling when you feel that something that you've said has been taken to heart, and it makes someone, puts them in a better position to be released. So
As Commissioner Ludlow used to say, words can be very powerful.
Mm-hmm. They really can. They really can. So we choose ours wisely, I think, and because we know that we have great power to affect change in people's hearts and in their intentions and in their willingness to help themselves do better. So, without any further ado, I'd like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters with our counsel that are not subject to open meetings law. And is there a motion by Commissioner Berliner? Is there a second? Okay, second by Commissioner Drake. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. 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 Thank you so much.